Well, hello everyone. I believe we are now live on the YouTubes. Welcome to Cobalt Poets. It's week number 273 of our virtual series. Glad to have you with us. My name is Rick Lupert. I'm your MC for tonight. In addition to our open reading, our featured reader is Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl, fellow Southern Cal poet here with us tonight. Excited to have you here, Diosa. And we're going to do a little bit of our open reading first, and then we will hear from Diosa, and then we'll have the rest of our open reading. If you would like to read tonight and you haven't already done so, send me a message in the chat and I'll be happy to add you. Tonight up first will be the collab, Cathabella and Chris. And the first part of the open reading will then be followed by Neil Daswani, Denise Dumars, Heather Romero Kornblum, and Melody Anderson Brumitis. Everyone else will come after our featured reader, and I'll let you know the order when we get to that part of the reading. So send me a message if you'd like to read. If you're on the list when it's your turn, you get to read up to 2 poems, maximum of 2 poems. As always, our suggested time limit is less is more. Cheers to that. Not only cheers to that, but cheers to our 1 drink minimum. That's rule number 2. Make sure you have a drink with you. I understand some of you were pre-gaming before the reading started, so best of luck to you in the pronunciation of your words, etc. And so glad that you're all here with us. So finally, make sure you have the chat room open since everyone is deliberately muted until it's your turn to read. That's where you get to interact with each other, say hi to each other, react to the things that the poet whose turn it is to read is saying, as well as sending each other messages, posting links, etc., etc., etc. I believe that's everything I need to tell you. If there are any questions before we get to our first reader, I'd love to know what your questions are. Yes, Finn Bell.
Good evening, Rick. What is the most unusual name that you've ever heard the full moon called?
Um, I'm trying to like respond quickly and make up something funny that will be entertaining, yet not true, because the true answer is I can't think of a real answer. And the sad truth is I'm having trouble quickly coming up with something convincing, outside of, oh, look, it's a witch's tit. I don't know. I mean, that's the best I've got right now, Finn, and I don't think it's very good, honestly.
Okay, I'm looking for more names because I'm discovering new ones, and I'm wondering where they got such an unusual name, like you know uh, you know like you said, like the beaver's tit moon or something. So there you go.
Sure.
There you go.
I was excited about the beaver moon, which we had last week or so. I don't know that it was so unusual, but it heralded the spotting of 2 raccoons in the neighborhood. So maybe there's something to that. I'm not sure. Good question, Finn. Thank you so much. Martin, what is your question?
Good evening, Rick. I was just wondering this evening whether you've ever wanted to circumnavigate the globe.
Yes, I'm in a constant state of wanting to circumnavigate the globe. I was just about to head off to do that tonight, and then I remembered, oh, I've got to do this. So, yet again, foiled by responsibilities and the amount of time I would imagine it takes to do that. That's probably like a good, like 6 or 7 hour affair, I would say.
Oh, at least, I think. It took me longer than that to get to Japan.
Well, yeah, I think the key there is not having a destination, but just to continue going in the circle, and that's usually what fixes it, I think.
Right.
Makes it
I've
go
only made it
faster.
3/4 of the way around the world myself so far. But
Yeah. All right. Good
thank,
question. Hope you make it the rest of the way and find your
thank
way
you.
home. Thank you, Martin. Any other questions before we get going? Cathabella.
Rick, I've often seen you matching expressions in pictures, and I was just wondering what's your favorite matching expression you've done with someone close to you?
What do you mean by matching expression?
Well, you make a face and the other person makes a face. Now, this is something I know you're very familiar with, unless you want to pretend you're not.
I mean, how do you know that they're not matching my expression?
Oh, okay. Well, you could look at it that way. There we go.
I mean, I could be the captain of expressions, as far as you know, and people are
I'm
just waiting,
sure you are. I'm sure you
waiting to
are.
see
Go
what my
ahead.
face does before, they make a move with their cheeks.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm asking you what you think. I mean, because,
I think whichever way it works, you do it well.
well, that's awfully nice of you. All right, Cathabella, thank you. Good question. Looks like Chris has a question. Chris?
Unmute. How many bionic poets do we have? That means people with, for example, I have titanium in my leg. I have a hip replacement. I wonder if the eye surgery also makes you bionic. I have to have that soon too. How many bionic poets do we have?
And more importantly, will we have more by the time the reading is over? I
Okay.
don't. I always avoided bionics because, based on my knowledge of them, which entirely comes from the show The $6 Million Man, it just seems too expensive.
Here in Japan,
And the price has gone
I
up,
get
I
paid
should
back
point
for
out.
my operation. So
Oh,
I
well,
have
good for
private
you.
insurance. So the public insurance, the whole thing is very inexpensive to begin with, and then I get it back because I've been paying into my little private insurance.
That's
I'm
wonderful,
lucky.
Chris. So congratulations on your bionics, and use them well.
Thank you. I have another one coming up Christmas Eve.
Santa's bringing you a fun gift, I guess, this year, Chris. All right. Well, there you go. Important questions asked tonight at the beginning of Cobalt Poets. We'll get to our open reading now. Our second reader will be Neil Daswani. Please welcome now the collab, Cathabella Wilson and Chris Kondo. Hello to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Here we are from two sides of the globe, if that's a way to put it, next to each other. Okay, Chris.
Okay. Sharing seems to be the motto at the rehab hospital, always eating together and group walks and swims.
A gaggle of geese marching to the fountain. Looking important. We tag along the poets' parade.
Reflection. How much do my daughter and I, with our canes, resemble each other?
I love that one. My daughter and I work with the wands given by Grandma. Go out in the world, she said, and make it all better.
This is about Sanford Goldstein and me.
Yes, we're really concentrating on the grandfather of Tanka poetry.
English Tanka.
In English. And these are personal remembrances right now. He's celebrating his 100th birthday, though he left us some years ago, not too long.
Next to each other, English teaching conference. Our poster sessions. You using Tanka, me haiku, international poetry.
Inspired by your poem, I wanted to make you lunch from across the globe. Instead, years as email buddies, our virtual Tonka Cafe. And here's our accompanist with the accompaniment instrument.
Just an old shakuhachi. It has 10 bindings, you see that, because it was cracked once or twice or 3 times and repaired with this rattan. That's it.
That's it. It's not kintsugi, huh?
No,
Not this one.
no.
No, but he has other shakuhachis repaired with kintsugi. That means with gold. Okay, thank you, Rick. And
Thank you. Short and sweet
Great.
today.
yeah, thank you, Chris. Everyone
Great. Thank you
else is
guys
getting ready for next week.
Thank you guys very much for opening up the reading. Less is more. You did it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, Kath, Bella, and Chris. Rick, did you notice that Rick's flutes always begin with the word just? Like that's
Just.
the only kind of flute he has. It's just this,
Your
it's just that.
always begin with the word just.
Just,
Because
just,
he just
Yeah.
has flutes,
just an
Yeah.
hundreds of them.
Yeah. It's
There
funny
you
you
go.
said that.
just 100 or so.
Yeah.
Just a
He's
2,000-year-old
so
flute.
humble.
Just so humble. All right, you guys, thank you very much. A round of applause for the collab. Chris, Cathabella, and Rick. On deck is Denise Dumars. Please welcome now Neil Daswani. Hello, Neil.
Hi, Rick, and hello, everybody. Good to be back here. I have two poems, one very short one and another one. This is a tongue-in-cheek poem called Golden Record. Maybe in 40,000 years, assuming they do exist, extraterrestrials might get to view the Golden Record time capsule carried by Voyager 1. The Golden Record introduces us, the human race. Hopefully, the deluge of greetings in 55 languages will not confuse him, as it includes Akkadian, last spoken on Earth 6,000 years ago, and Wu, a modern Chinese dialect, which is not that widely spoken anymore. We do not want them to think poorly of us. So first off, we have showcased binary math and exponentials, benzene rings, DNA helixes, and much, much more. All the stuff you love to hate in high school. With limited disk capacity, hard choices had to be made. Only one page from one book, Shakespeare's first folio, was elbowed out by Newton's System of the World. There is a silhouette of a man and a woman to show them what we look like. Although they are holding hands, it is very clear that these are two distinct beings. There are other pictures of men and women licking ice cream, eating sandwiches, and drinking water. Thankfully, not all at once. And thankfully, sunrises and sunsets made the cut. The soundtrack is a montage, bird sound blended with the sound of surf and thunder, and the sound of a mother kissing her child, and brainwaves like firecrackers popping nonstop. There's no mention whatsoever of war, religion, or politics. This is probably a good thing. We don't want to scare them away. We can get down to honesty later on, maybe even swap war stories and compare our worst villains. The best part for me, at least, is that the Golden Record has 90 minutes of music. Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart, with Chuck Berry thrown in, just in case they are a young people. Oh, I forgot to mention, if you listen carefully in the background to the 55 greetings, is Whale Song, a reach out to find a connection across a vast ocean, which is endless space. And maybe this whole Voyager 1 thing and the Golden Record is exactly that. Our message in a bottle, for no man is an island, except maybe Robinson Crusoe before he bumped into Man Friday. So thank you. That's the first and a short second one, hopefully, which being Remembrance Day and Veterans Day. It's titled Four Poppies. Four poppies. On battlefields do poppies grow, by mortar and shell rubble does the soil get tilled. Through lime leak and gas, the fields are filled. One poppy pops up for each soldier killed. Much resemblance amongst poppies, comrades all, scarlet red poppies, poppies cloaked in blood, flowers of remembrance, memories return in a flood. Blossoming in spring, but gone by the fall, each one for a young soldier who fought and fell. Brave men buried alongside the allegiance they swore, to all those who would not live to tell the horrors that we now call war. Into more than two, many of us are torn, the crimson pin to heart and chest, but the blood-red patch still gets worn, a salute to the servicemen laid to rest. Thank you, Rick. Thank you all for your patient listening.
Thank you, Neil. Welcome back. Good to have you and your work here again tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Nice job.
Thank you.
Round of applause for Neil Deswani. On deck, Heather Romero Kornblum. Please welcome now Denise Dumars. Hello, Denise.
Hi, everybody. I have a couple of strange ones tonight, but don't I always? This first one is from my chapbook, Speaking Bones. I read something from it last week. It's an older book. This one's called Chocolate. You prate in verse, clipped tongue, the property of thieves, cleft woes, the depth of invective, like peaches, soft indentation, fur, orange, big doe eyes like chocolate, drops, messy, melty all over the hands, seat of the pants like 5-year-olds, embarrassed. Opined upon tablet, granite leaking, acid fog, guitar strings shred the skin, fajitas. You sing in batches, clipped cookies. The sweet and the rough flaking off. I hold your words in penitential cups, water holy from the bitter hot font. Single-tongued drip. You, demented, cinnamon grains, spice speech, ordinate throat, the color honey demands. The lip brights broken, brown bruised as peaches. And since Neil started one off for us with First Contact, oddly enough, I had also planned to read my short poem, First Contact. Mistaken with that little arrow, curve of silver wire, a moonstone that glowed like boiled icing on a cake, a skeleton leaf dipped in platinum. Oh, the wonder that is plankton in the sovereign hills that bespeaks the radiant ctenophore, its effervescing nodes and ribs of life-formed light. Inspection in the three-fingered hands that never asked about us, not once, but saved our sorry butts because they loved the little jelly. Thank you.
Denise, thank you very much. I love the strange ones, so keep them coming. That's my vibe. Of course, there's the idea that sometimes we don't intend them to be strange, but they land that way anyway. So it's all good. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Denise Dumars. Two more readers than our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl. Melody Anderson Vermitis, you are on deck. Please welcome now Heather Romero Kornblum. Hello, Heather.
Hey everyone, so glad to be here. If you hear banging in the background, it's one of my cats. So I apologize for that. Yeah, the first poem I'm going to read, I'm so thankful and grateful that I just found out a couple days ago it is already on the Women Who Submit blog. This Makes Up the Sky under the rain theme, and it's called LA in the Rain. I never wanted my family to end. I remember how hopeful we moved the contents of my son's life. I anticipated sharing with him again. I imagined him sleeping peacefully in the sun-drenched room, looking out to hills. Instead, it rained into the apartment, the building hallways lined with buckets and cigarette butts. One of the cats did her business on his bed, as I was left alone, broken spine, too open, with holes that couldn't be patched. I thought LA was a desert where I could leave everything outside. So that's the first poem. And second poem I'm going to read. Actually, I'm uncertain about what the second poem is I'm going to read. I'm going to read something that's in progress. Yeah. This one is called As She Became Birds. Maybe you don't get my new body. The one you almost killed is gone. I gravitated toward you still, newly adorned in feathers, capable of flight, more economical physically. I draped myself in beauty, sometimes ashamed of the hollowing. I still turned you on, though you hated it, continued to punish me. Either you would snuff me out, or I would prove my scaliness, no longer human. Cross shrew with crow, you forget who I am. So that's the second one.
Heather, thank you so much for being here. As far as I'm concerned, you are supremely human. Appreciate that you are here. Thank you for your work. Round of applause for Heather Romero Kornblum. On deck is our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl. Please welcome now Melody Anderson Bromidis. Hello, Melody. Melody, are you there? You gotta unmute. All right, well, it looks like we might be having trouble getting to Melody, so we'll try to get her on later and move now to our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl, who... Oh, wait, there she is. Melody, are you there?
Here I am. Are you ready?
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, thank you. I so appreciate your group. It's such a wonderful group. So, my poem is an alliterative poem, and it's about rain, and this is the assignment I got about rain, and it has some words starting with R, quite a few. So my poem is called Relaxing in the Rain. The rhythm rises regularly in the raucousness of the rainless rain. I am a pluviophile, someone who loves rain. Pluvio in Latin stands for rain, and philos in Greek stands for love. A pluviophile often finds peace of mind and joy on rainy days. Unfortunately, the heat and the inability for anyone to beat the heat takes pleasure away from a pluviophile like me, who is looking forward to the rain. A roaring, racy rain, sunshine through clouds, rainbows, restlessness, raincoats, ready for the rippling rhythm of the rain. A pluviophile like me rises early, rainbows regularly rotating in the sky. Whether or not we wonder, we welcome the rising rhythm of the rain, resolute in a raincoat, restlessness in the rhythm of the rainless rain. One day the rain will rise in the sky and surprise all of us, pluviophiles like me included. Many a pluviophile from Vallejo has moved on a restless, rainless day to Oregon to simply sit back and enjoy the rain, rainbows regularly rotating in the sky. In the heat, beat the heat. The pluviophiles like me in Northern California rise in restless, rainless revolutions, rainbows rotating in the sky. The rain regularly revolves in and out, rhythms of the rain rising. Restive, roasting ripples, raincoats ready, rotating remembrances of rainstorms on ready recall. A pluviophile like me will always recollect the ravishing, resplendent, and radiant rainfall roaring on the rooftop. In the heat, beat the heat. All pluviophiles rest in readiness for the romanticizing of the raindrops, rhymes and rhythms, regularly rapturous rainfall, ringing in the rain from the rain cloud, resting rhapsodically and radiantly on the pluviophile's puddle of precipitation, rising in the smurr, an archaic word for a fine drizzle. Rose-colored rainfall, reactions of petrichor, the smell of rain on dry earth, rhythm rising regularly, romanticizing the restiveness of the rain. Rolling, rolling, rising rain, restfulness of the pluviophile, rotating rhythms and rhymes and rhythms of the soft pitter-patter, the metallic drumming on a tin roof, the natural whispering in a forest, the sharp splashing, splash, splush, slush, on pavement, and the deep roaring of a downpour. Rain is rare in our residential area or region, but we, the pluviophiles, rest in the regular remembrances of the rainfall, a recall of the relish, regard, and respect of the rainy day rainbows, reminding us of the revitalizing, rhapsodic, and refreshing rain. That's it.
You should have warned us, Melody, that we might get wet listening to your poem. Well done, full of assonancistic. I'm making up words. The repetition of the sound over and over. Enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back. Good to hear your work. Round of applause for Melody Anderson Bromaitis. I will quickly mention that after our featured reader, our next open reader will be Jeffrey Bryant. That leads us now to our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl, a name that I'm more and more confidently pronouncing as the evening goes on. Thank you, Diosa, for the crash course in how to pronounce it tonight. I'm excited that you're here. I met Diosa a month or two ago when I got to read at an event called the Long Beach Poetry Festival in a little theater in Long Beach, where I was exposed to lots of great poets all at the same time, and Diosa was one of those. It was in a cool dark theater on a main street in Long Beach, and here we are. Diosa is a multilingual and multidimensional poetisa and author of 6 poetry collections and 1 chapbook. Her brand new book, which is coming out shortly in another week or so, is called Mi Chicana Poemas y Más Poemas. It's coming out later this year, and in a little bit, I'll post a link on how you can pre-order it as well. Diosa, I'm really happy that you're here. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Please welcome our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl.
Thank you, Rick. It was such a pleasure reading with you, yes, and meeting. And it's so exciting to be in a room full of some faces and names that I recognize. Tesoro in the house, women who submit, Saturday afternoon. Is it Saturday afternoon poets, or am I quoting that wrong? It's been a while that I've been to that Saturday group. But a pleasure being here, especially since I would still be at work and I would never be able to join if it weren't a holiday. So thank you, veterans. And so I'll start with that poem, my ode to veterans, specifically my dad. Which is, this is his story. Just a typical day in downtown LA in 1966. He was just an 18-year-old kid trying to do the right thing. Un chilango, was drafted to war by way of Mexico City. He flew into LAX, arrived at his tia's in Huntington Park. The next day, with papers in hand, he reported to downtown LA. Not a lick of English did this kid comprehend, yet they sent him right on in. He never imagined he would be sent away on the very same day he arrived. And like an inmate, he got just one phone call. Tía, ya me llevan a la guerra de Vietnam. Thank you. And so I will be reading from my last two books, Conversations with the Dead, Conversaciones con los Difuntos. Slumber. Sleep, my dear, do sleep, until the heart remembers, the mind forgets, and Morpheus, your soul doth keep. Itty bitty microphone. And in honor of Edgar Allan Poe, here is something I put together. One second now. "'Tis not a midnight dreary. The screeching shrills did truly shatter the hidden veil of human matter on what appeared to be an ordinary night. But this was not a midnight dreary, for I was fast asleep and weary when the felines did cause such a terrible fright. Heavily my eyelids did shudder, not a single word could I utter. Something very abnormal would prevent my sight. Hesitantly my eyes would open, though I tried, no word could be spoken on such an ordinary, horrifying night. My body could not move, my breath began to lose, despite my willingness to fight. My fingers touched my palms, my mouth resounded psalms as I began to pray with might. My grandmother's words I remembered, whilst my living hours felt outnumbered. I reject all evil, is what I did recite. Slowly my body regained movement, my heavy breath felt great improvement on such an ordinary, horrific night. Surely my senses I recovered, gasping for air next to my lover while he slept peacefully with delight. No sooner did he begin to choke, I shook him and shook him till he awoke. He sat up, looked at me, then cursed with all his might. He laid back down, for he was asleep. I looked at him hard in disbelief. He looked me in the eye and cursed. Oh, what a sight. There laid my lover, sleeping soundly, while I stayed up, praying profoundly, trying to forget such a mortifying night. To this day, that night still does haunt me. Sometimes I think that death still wants me, especially on this, an ordinary night. Thank you. And moving on to When the Leaves Come Tumbling Down, an A to Z poetry collection all about loss. And a lot of these are smaller, but I'm not a very long-winded poet anyway. So most of my work is small. Ashes. Because he loved me, we all fell down. Because he did love me, we all fell down. Because he really didn't know how to love me. And it killed him, ashes. And it killed me, ashes. It killed what little we had. Because he sat there, we all fell down. Paralyzed by his fear, we all fell down, immovable. All the bridges in ashes came tumbling down in ashes because he loved me, or so we thought. Thank you. And next, I know these are all sad. Sorry. I have a sad set today. Dandelion. You were supposed to be my dream come true. Close your eyes. Make a wish. Breathe life into this aspiration. Release it to the universe. Let it manifest. I never had the chance to lift the lids from over these glossy globes I call eyes. And even when I eventually managed to do so, a virulent veil remained. Blinded by your black magic, parachuted by your pathos. You were supposed to be my dream come true. Instead, you turned out to be my worst nightmare. Thank you. And Lewis and Gresham. A note to them. I want a love like Lewis and Gresham. I don't want the kind of husband with whom to sleep with through the night. I do not seek validation in times of celebration or on occasions of terrible fright. I want a lover who is willing to grasp my hand in that moment, my darkest hour. One who is willing to hold me during the last grumblings of my human tower. I want a husband who will let me live independently and all alone, and let me die in his loving arms when it is time for me to go home. Right. For those times when we try to bury moments, people, and in the Native American tradition, there is a burial ceremony. And so yeah, here's the poem. Miles of Mierda. I tried to bury you. I really did. But I just couldn't bring myself to write your name on that parchment paper. No pude. I tried to bury you. I really did. But then I realized I was only fooling myself into believing I could live without you. Y tampoco pude. I thought about all that was good and when and where and why it all went wrong. Maldito miedo. It got the best of both of us. I was scared as shit, and you were scared shitless. I tried to bury you. I really did, but you wouldn't have it either. The minute I set my intention, a timely text appeared. Only the spirits could have summoned such a sign. I tried to bury you. I really, really did. But instead of burying, I planted the seed of our love, warmly nestled under our piles and piles of fecal matter. Maybe in time, our love will find itself deeply rooted, bursting through our miles of mierda, blossoming into something even more beautiful than before. And I'll end with these two itty bitty poems, Monsoon and New Moon Blues. Monsoon. I left my steady blue skies for the tumultuous thunders of your love. Your walloping winds carried me away, while your rapid rains flooded my barren canyons. Then, when monsoon season was over, so were we. New moon blues. Every new moon, you make your appearance, crying away your empty womb. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you, Cobalt Poets. Thank you.
Diosa, that was really wonderful to listen to. I didn't even realize that you would never have been. What a fortuitous thing that this invitation came for this day that you could do this. What do you do on Tuesday night? May I ask?
I'm a teacher. I'm teaching adult immigrants how to learn how to speak and read and write in English.
Oh wow. Okay, so that's cool. Well, lucky them and lucky us that we got to hear you tonight. A lot of great stuff in your work. Really sweet to hear the poem for your dad today on Veterans Day. I love the mix of styles. The poem inspired by Poe was like, in a way very different from the other poems that you read, and a great tribute to him, but also just shows the breadth of what you can do. The poem for your ideal husband who lets you go home at the end, that was amazing. Um, um, and not at all what I want in case my wife is watching, by the way. When monsoon season was over, so are we. There's so much to unpack there in terms of what happened, and then something about being in sync with the world and how it works. And the line "scared of shit" and juxtaposed against "scared shitless" was really cool as well. I loved it. I'm so glad you got to be here with us tonight. Thank you, Diosa. I'm going to paste some stuff in the chat, and I'm going to share the screen to show people the broadside I made for the poem that you sent me, I Poet. There it is. People can download this now at the Cobalt Poets website at the link I pasted in the chat. If you're watching on YouTube or later on in Facebook, it's poetrysuperhighway.com/cobalt. Click on broadsides. You can download this 11 by 17 print and enjoy it. Print it out, whatever you would like. Hope you'll consider tipping Diosa for her reading tonight. I put Diosa's Venmo in the chat and as a comment to the posts where it's posted as well. So that's the virtual passing of the hat, which you might see at an in-person reading. If you're the kind of person who would toss money into the hat for the featured reader, Venmo is the way that you do that tonight. Another great way, of course, to do that is by picking up Diosa's books. She's got a bunch of them out. There's a link in the chat to bookshop.org, which is the one place I saw you can pre-order Michicana Poemas y Mas Poemas, which comes out later this month, next 20th, I think, of this month. And then there's also a link to her book, West of the Santa Ana and Other Sacred Places, there at Amazon, and that one is also on bookshop.org and or at the publisher, wherever you would like to get books. And finally, there's a link to Diosa's website, diosax.net. I'm glad I learned how to pronounce your name. I'm glad I don't have to type it over and over to get to your website. Diosa, thank you. Thank you again. Great job.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. And
I hope you have a
can't wait to
Tuesday
hear
off
the
again
rest.
sometime. Yeah, I hope you have a Tuesday off again sometime. Come back and join the open reading anytime you want. We'd love to hear you. Round of applause for our featured reader, Diosa Xochiquetzalcóatl. I'm getting the name down. I did have to take a breath in the middle of mispronouncing the last name, but with enough exercise, I think it's all going to happen in one easy flow going forward. All right, I'll quickly mention before we get to the rest of tonight's open reading that next week our featured reader is Alex S. Johnson. Alex has been here a few times in the open reading. He's a publisher at Nocturnum Books. Put out not too long ago a book of poems inspired by Bauhaus, the band Bauhaus, and is doing all kinds of interesting work with his own work and anthologies that he's putting out on Nocturnum. He will be with us next week. All right. That leads us to the rest of tonight's open reading. Here's who I have on the list in this order: Jeffrey Bryant, Michael G. Hickey, Julian Matthews, Christopher Bogart, Finn Bell, Martina Robles Gallegos, Martin Parker, Bill Gaines, Sean Mahoney, Jennifer Elise Wang, Ed Potastic, Heidi Casa, Dig Wayne, and me. If I missed anyone, or if you'd like to add yourself, please feel free to send me a message in the chat, and I'll be happy to add you to the list. As a reminder, it's 2 poems maximum, and as always, less is more is the suggested time limit. Having said all that, Michael G. Hickey, you are on deck. Please welcome our next reader, Jeffrey Bryant. Hi, Jeffrey.
Hi, Diosa, gorgeous work tonight. Really wonderful to hear you. 2 short ones. You don't actually stand in a door jamb when the earth quakes. You stand in a door jamb with your robe parted. Everything right there alluring for me to see. You revealed, and you walk in and I kiss you to taste what you aren't telling me. This is a poem about lemons. Susan Sarandon squeezed lemons on her breasts in the movie Atlantic City. Can lemons make tumors disappear? I am in the pescado stage of life. You may squeeze a lemon on me and see if it freshens me up and makes me taste all tart and spring-like. A lemon fell from the tree onto my head as I read that Lawrence Durrell book about his time in Cyprus, how colonialism turns green inside and rots under the peel. Bitterness is never a problem if you only live in the now. The past can only tumor you. Let me ripen in the sunlight. Let me stay branched long enough to take the confessions of crows, to see boys climb around me, to be sexy enough to bottom for a fluffy meringue. Thank you.
Well, there's something I'll be picturing for the rest of the evening. Thank you, Jeffrey, very much for that. So the lemon fell off the tree while you're writing that. So finally, gravity has been proven for you. So that is wonderful as well. We will be sending lemons and lemon juicers for you to use as you need. And I see tonight you're also dressed as a lemon. So fantastic all-around presentation. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here. How lucky we are to exist at a time where we get to hear your poems all the time. Round of applause for Jeffrey Bryant. On deck, Julian Matthews. Please welcome now Michael G. Hickey. Hello, Michael.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everyone. I have 2 offerings tonight. The first one is dedicated to Veterans Day, and it's called Alchemy. As your eyes scan hundreds of sailors dazzling as human snowdrifts in their navy whites, when she laser locks on her man, her husband, the father of her children, she no longer needs her sense of sight. Daryl, she screams, and from now on, she no longer needs a sense of sound. She's had 18 months of wartime silence, except for the rare abbreviated phone call from the war zone riddled with static sounds from concerned teachers, bill collectors, her mother. When she reaches him, embraces him, it is everything she dreamed of. She can defy gravity without gravity's consent. 347 nights of remembering their engagement, wedding, babies. She holds him so close the blood rushes to his head, so close even the seagulls hover to see if he will burst open like a piñata. She smells him, not cologne or a special soap, but him, just him. And she no longer needs her sense of smell. As she sobs uncontrollably into his shoulder as they share the most private moment of their lives in front of hundreds, she feels his musculature, his beard, his heartbeat. And when she can tear her arms from around him, they will kiss a long, slow, lascivious movie star kiss, a kiss to end all kisses, which will redefine her sense of touch. This morning, a Saturday at the Bremerton Naval Air Station, there is something in the air like love, but better. There is something in the air so magical, so powerful, that calling it love isn't enough, because love is also the score of 0 in tennis. Love is also a good movie or a pair of suede shoes. That is something more than love. This is something that keeps the rest of us alive. That's the first one. The second poem, I have a new website and a new book. It's called Orgy at the Chinchilla Ranch. And this is where the title comes from. This is the first poem in the book. It's called Hair. My wife slinks in the house with a vein-sized crack in her timber and asks, well, what do you think? Matrimonied for 11 years, I have learned the finer points of this intersection the hard way, to look for signs of softness in her eyes, like a reluctant peacock eyeballing a peahen, uncertain whether to spread the full deck of his plumage. She is on the cliff face of tears, this much is obvious. Perhaps she has been crying. My wife takes her hair very seriously. I have years of trial and error scars to prove that. And that she has been weeping is not altogether unfathomable, as her hair resembles an orgy at a chinchilla ranch. Sit down, honey, I say with the sincerity of someone about to fleece you at the poker table. Sit down. And I circle around her buzzard like 360 loops of animal husbandry. Phenomenal, I whisper, replete with reptile smile. It accentuates your cheekbones, but it's so rad, it's so chic. You have the perfect facial structure to pull it off. And I sell it like P.T. Barnum coaxing a one-armed lion tamer back into the ring. Then, careful not to overdo it, careful not to become the scapegoat of this full-on follicle assault, I go back to watching the basketball game on TV, having rediscovered the tenuous magic in my wife's hair and all the other secrets up there. Thank you.
Was she a Medusa or something with all that stuff up there? You got nothing?
What can I say? My first wife was very particular about her hair. It was a birthday present. It cost 3 times as much as any other stylist in Seattle, and it was a disaster.
Oh man. Michael, thank you very much for being here. I really enjoyed the book, Orgy at the Chinchilla Ranch. I know for quite a while I called it Orgy at the Chinchilla Factory. I'm almost ready to move on to ranch, but I think I'm going to land on farm for a little while before I can finally get the title right.
Thanks for the book jacket blurb, Rick. It is much appreciated.
My pleasure. My mother always said, wear a jacket. So whatever I can do to help. Round of applause for Michael G. Hickey. Thank you, Michael. On deck is Christopher Bogart. Please welcome now Julian Matthews. Hello, Julian.
Hi. We share screen. Oh. This first one is called Runaway. Runaway. And you, what did you learn from this? Hustling of uncoined phrases, all your half-baked cliches, this churning of the metaphorical as if in a mixer, blending, blaspheming, blood-curdling, crude attempts to return your lost coin toss to its original form. This reconstituting of what remains, pouring yourself into a new mold, scraping bottoms, patting yourself down, letting it rest, yet shoving it in unheated, unlubricated, impatiently baking the unreal, making all this oven hurt rail, letting it sink in the middle, collapse, fail. And what did I expect from this careening unrest, this unexpected restlessness, the mess left behind from this burning, the lessons learned from well-meaning intentions, now a cold hearth of cinders, charred, crumbling, craven desire, scorched yearning, still railing at your derailment, trackless ignorance, runaway naivety, off track, loose caboose, leaping, rolling, flipping, heads or tails, I lose, we both lose. The second one is called Elephant. I read this. Still in draft. Elephant, you empty your trunk, lumber into my slumber, stamp out my trouble, longings, herd my overthinking into surrender. It's a thankless task, I know. Sometimes I'm just a babe stuck in my own mud. It's never stand and fight, it's fright, flight, and hide. Comfort in cozy crevices, the slow thud of your massive heart. Unlike you, I'm a single shade of gray now. Ivory-eyed, the inexorable march into obscurity, a woolly mammoth's ghost brushing against Siberian sedges as stampeded grass spear up to blur the edges of the last shot of my camera-trapped behemoth. Thank you.
Julian, well done. As always, thank you so much for being here and sharing your work with us. Always engrossing and engaging and seeing what you're doing, even in draft form. Well done. Round of applause for Julian Matthews. On deck, Finn Bell. Please welcome now Christopher Bogart. Hello, Christopher.
Hi, Rick. I've got two. And the first one I'm reading for two reasons. First of all, because it's Veterans Day, and because I just checked the statistics. There are 40,000 green card soldiers serving in the United States military at present. 8,000 of them a year enlist. This is about one of them. He was the first American soldier to die in Iraq. And his name was Jose Antonio Gutierrez. He was U.S. Marine Lance Corporal. And this is called Half-Eaten Dream. His name was Tonio. He was one of 120,000 homeless children in Guatemala. El polvo de la tierra, the dust of the earth. When he was 8, unlike many others, he was a survivor. His name was Tonio. He did what he had to. He stole bicycles, sold shoe glue. He begged in dusty streets in Guatemala. From the dust of those streets, he fashioned dreams. His name was Tonio. He wrote poems. He traveled 3,000 miles by foot, by rubber, and by rail. He came to our border at 22, said he was 16. He had to. He had dreams. His name was Tonio. He attended high school in California, lived with foster parents. You're going to be very proud of me, he said. I have dreams. Everyone is going to remember who I am. My name is Tonio. After high school, he enlisted in the Marines. He became a green card soldier, like 38,000 other young Central American men who wear the United States uniform to fight to belong, to survive. His name was Tonio. He was a child of the streets, el pobre de la tierra. So he wanted to fight for the dust of the earth of Iraq. I'll give my life if I have to. He had to. He was killed by friendly fire a few hours after landing in Iraq. He was the war's first fatality. He died for dreams that do not die. He died an American. His name was Tonio. Thank you. And then the other one, I'm going to, this is not finished. I just really want to know whether it is worth finishing. But what struck me was about all of what's going on right now is that it reminded me of Horton Hears a Who. It's almost like millions and millions of people are shouting out. How many more? One more? Two more? Anyhow, this is called Don Don Hears a You. Not long ago, in the country of You, a young lad was born whose grandfather was Who. Not just any old Who. Jojo Who was his name. And the feat that gave Jojo his own Who-doom fame was that on one day when he was rushed up to the top of the Eiffelberg Tower to yell just one yell, yop. That yop from the top of the Eiffelberg Tower saved Whoville and made Jojo the man of the hour. But Jojo's grandson was not from Who, but from You. And the US of A was the country he knew. This lad's name was Joe after his famous granddad. And like Jojo's Whoville, young Joe's Youville was in trouble bad. You see, Don Don the con man had just ridden down his golden grift escalator in Don the Con town, hired richly paid sycophants to crown him a king, but the citizens of You had no use for such things. The country of You was a big D democracy, a country that had no time for racism or autocracy. So protests were formed and massive demonstrations, and without one single dime from George Soros's remunerations. The first march in June had 5 million attended. In over 2,000 cities, and lines never ended. The second march in October was an even bigger success. 7 million youths marched, and without one arrest. But despite all the protests, demonstrations, and marches that ran over bridges, down streets, under arches, nothing seemed changed. Not one thing got better. And King Don the Con's reign looked like it would last for forever. King Don unleashed his ice sickles, violent brigands on bikes, to run down helpless youths who ate beans with their ice. And if any you in Youville dared get in their way, he sent in You militia armed with tear gas, pepper spray. That's as far as I've gotten. Thank you.
Christopher, thank you so much. Important work you're doing for all of us. I'm sorry that you have to write that, but I'm glad that you did. Round of applause for Christopher Bogart. Well done. On deck, Martina Roblos Gallegos, please welcome now Finn Bell. Hello, Finn.
Good evening, Rick. Good evening, everybody. 2 poems from me. It's good to see you guys again. I know I haven't been around in a bit. This first one is from a collection by Mossad Abu Toha. It's called Forest of Noise. The book is called Forest of Noise. The poem is titled, This Is Not a Poem. It's vacant here, except for hundreds of stone boxes and a yellow, dry floor of sand. Even birds find no trees to perch on. Inside each box, 2 hands, or maybe even one. Or maybe no hands, 1 leg, 2 legs, or maybe no legs, a head or none, a chest, or a smashed one, or nothing at all. All of the body parts we learned about at school or touched on our loved ones. A box may perfectly fit the size of a corpse. It may be bigger, or it could be just empty. Grandfather, I don't know where yours is, but your wheelchair is surely nowhere inside any of these boxes. You need nothing to help you move now. Brother, I know you're sleeping in one, but I never searched for it. Your loud snoring once directed me to your bed, but not anymore. I cannot tell if they've inscribed your name on the gravestone. Not sure if there's a gravestone or if you're still in the grave, or where you watch us from. Watch me writing this. But what is this? This is not a poem. This is a grave, not beneath the soil of homeland, but above a flat, light, white rag of paper. Mossad Abutoha, a forest of noise. This is called Mother Fallow. I'm looking for a different title for it. It's an older piece I revised. Find all the scattered people in the wind. Heed all the discordant, unheard voices. Hear discarded bones pray to rise to the surface, flute of a mother's fractured hum, a melody push through marrow. It thrums, it sings beneath the thieved fallow, the blood-reddened soil. An oak tree has forgotten her kin's names, though they have written themselves on her constricted rings. She wanders aimless, planting herself beside a river, whispers to the childless doe how the swift current carries her milk nowhere, and how the ship's tattered sails dipped their ruined cloth into the waters and suckled her breasts dry. Greed steers its craft aground. When the babies go hungry, the babies will cease crying. The land's heart still beats a faint pit-pat beneath her. Fertile, fluttering crust guides the lungs of her tall grass to aerate failing breath into brush rabbit movement as they flee the countryside. She runs, runs, her purpose distilled, knows swift limb instinct, our survival. She runs, her life cycle enlightened, knows swift limb instinct, our existence. In her heaving flesh is the night, in the night, carnage, in carnage, dominion. Solemn gray wolf bays at the golden oak moon. Red-shouldered hawk loosens unforgiving sun from beneath her wings cape. In dominion is the daybreak. In the daybreak, this decimation. In decimation, stillness. Heed all the discordant, unheard voices. Find all the scattered people in the wind. Thanks.
Finn, thank you. You always have such a great presence here at Cobalt Poets. So great to hear your work and the way that you read it and all of that. Thank you so much for being here. Round of applause for Finn Bell, whose name I have to type twice every single time she's here because it always auto-corrects to phone Bell, but it's worth it, ladies and gentlemen. On deck, Martin Parker. Please welcome now Martina Robles Gallegos. Hello, Martina.
Hello, thank you. I had to, but I think I'm too tired and sleepy, and Kitty wants to eat, so I'm going to read only one. Do you believe in the American dream? This country is supposed to embrace immigrants and peoples of all creeds, religions, and cultures. But what's happening now contradicts everything that we've ever been taught to believe. The huddled masses are being kidnapped and locked up or deported, and families are being torn apart. But really, not all the huddled masses, only the ones whose skin color matches the sacred soil and golden sun. Where's the American dream we've all heard about? It lives in the minds of the privileged white elite. All I see are nightmares in plain daylight. Isn't this country supposed to be the melting pot where everyone is welcome? You're welcome if your bank account is bursting with cash. All I see is a pot full of poison that's boiling over, and the people who make this country great are being forced to leave jobs and families behind, and their American dream is one endless nightmare. Isn't this country of freedom and freedom of speech? That all depends on the color of your skin and the language you speak in public, English, that is. Isn't this country of laws and due process? Laws only apply to those who follow a felon and want to be king, and the same goes for due process. Isn't there an important document that guarantees justice for all? That document became null and void when the uneducated voted for a dictator. And justice is for his followers and those who can afford to pay for it. So welcome to your American dream, and enjoy the country you thought was going to make your life better and dreams come true. Thank you.
Thank you for pausing to take care of the kitty to share that important piece with us, Martina. I'm on board with everything that you said. It's such a tough time to be here in this place right now. And I personally have it relatively easy, so I appreciate you lending voice for those who don't. Thank you very much. Round of applause for Martina Robles Gallegos. On deck, Bill Gaines. Please welcome Martin Parker. Hello, Martin.
Hello again, Rick. Thank you to everyone here in the room tonight. I've got a couple poems tonight, some recent workshop pieces. This first one is called Circumnavigation. My body floats amid the stars as nebulae swirl within my eye. I listen to my silent scars as time caresses me where I lie on layers of foam as thin as the sky. I navigate through on these aging feet, inhaling the air while wandering by the people and trees I pass on this street. As autumn dreams are put on hold and visions spiral out of control. And this second one is called centering, which is a term I think is used sometimes in the meditation community, but is particularly used in the Quaker community for trying to center in at the beginning of a meeting, which is a bit like meditation. In meeting, I struggle to calm my brain or center, as we commonly say. I fumble for focus to find a release, a mantra to carry me through the day. With wars and worries worming their way within the thoughts I try to maintain of hope for resolutions and peace, amid the chaos falling like rain, and storms that spread and scatter the pain of dissolution, destruction, decay. Till into the center I let myself ease and breathe till the outer world falls away. Thank you very much. I'll put my usual links in the chat if it's okay.
It is okay. Absolutely, Martin. Thank you so much for your work tonight, for your art, and for your regular presence in this space. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Martin Parker. On deck, Sean Mahoney. Please welcome Bill Gaines. Hello, Bill.
Hello, how are you doing? By the way, I was not here last week. I was busy watching a zombie burlesque in Las Vegas. But luckily, these are all recorded, and you can watch it after the fact if you miss it, in case you didn't know. Uh, I want to give a special call out. Ed, Potastic, magnificent. I loved it so much. I'm sad that I missed it live because I would have been dropping hearts in the chat, I guess. It's probably what I would have been doing. But anyway, that was fantastic. Thank you for that. And thank you, Diosa, for tonight. It was very good to be back and experiencing it live. It was lovely. I have two airplane poems. Our first one is called Flight 0193. The ocean is clouds and the fish are birds. The stream of rushing air is the constant clamor of rapid waves crashing into each other under sunlight and sea wind. Our vessel is a schooner skipping lithely through the blue before a swirl of wake that pulls and flattens and lingers. Some get sick and some have the stomach, and nobody sleeps in quite the same way. And under the surface, under the clouds, a place to explore, new life to behold. And my other one is called Flight 1512. Undoing a brief getaway to Paris, Las Vegas, where some words are in French and some words are in English, but all the coffee costs $9. The flight home on a Spirit jet, yellow, like all those neon lights, offers coffee for only $4. And it tastes better too. And it's somehow more necessary at 8:30 p.m. because I see the twinkling jewelscape of the Southland below. And I know there's still driving to do. End of piece.
Travel poems may be my favorite, Bill. Thank you so much for both of those. Any mention of Paris as well is also my favorite. I have a lot of favorites which battle each other to the death. But there you go. Thank you so much for being here. You've got a featured reading here coming up in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. Glad you're back today. So cool that you watched last week's, and I know Ed appreciates your kudos to him as well. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, everybody.
Round of applause for Bill Gaines. On deck, Jennifer Elise Wang. Please welcome Sean Mahoney. Hello, Sean.
Good evening, sir. Hello, everyone. I have one for you tonight, and I will give you explanation afterwards. I will keep you in suspense for a little while. This is called November 4. November began, and I addressed a letter to my neurologist. My printed scrawl on a small envelope, hardly room enough for 2 stamps, a return addy. The rounded crease of paper forms, official, to the Department of Motor Vehicles. I've been convinced to apply, pushed to announce my disability with a mad parking public. A public, it seems, increasingly at war with a public. A mirrored sunglasses public. Reflected public not liking itself. Opinion matters only when opinion carries multiple steins and cleans out rain gutters and takes children wherever children want to be taken. We could lead each other by the nose to truth holes and caves, to energy-efficient refrigerators and bicycles where Ryder still generated the motion. Woe are my friends and enemies. Woe too to domesticated animals and elementary school bathrooms. I've forgotten what life tastes like. 94 degrees and 80% humidity. 6.3 on the Richter scale. Chiffon on rye bread with mustard. A whiskey shower, meaning booze in a plastic cup. After my shot, I'll pee into the sample cup and supply the nurse practitioner with my medical dilemma Cirque du Soleil style. I could have cancer or not. Nobody knows the trouble that's been seen in billions of tiny screens. Specialists may have to open my gums to gum up a few pockets of blazing fast air. All speculation at this point, like a poem is, in many regards, a speculative force of question, seeking more rhythmic questions. Presentations of the day-to-day, the night of many nights, and checkered wilds of wonder, wanting a house of expression, needing to work like almost anything else. Almost, that is, save the flagpole sitters, pinstriped accountants, Jerry's kids of tie-dye, and Gaga's hordes of meat mutants. Time, change, November warm, elections cold, a full moon tomorrow, not blood red nor Benjamin's green, not another of my heartstrings plucked from another insulting shout. This is not a whining thread. Nobody said the ride was fair, but really, why the fuck are you getting paid for not doing the people's skull and bones, people's dimes and pennies, constituents' lynch rope and gun fetish, folks' health and well-being, self-evident truth work? Thank you. So I had a blood test back in August because I get them several times a year because of the MS medication that I'm on. And this one came back with like a massively increased amount of nucleated red blood cells in my blood, which shouldn't be there. They're supposed to hang out in the bone marrow until they're given a proper assignment, let's say. So we had no explanation. One of the thoughts was, it could be leukemia. It's like, that was very comforting. It turns out it was a one-time event. Everything is back to normal now. So nobody knows why it happened. I'm fine with that. I can live with that. I can sleep comfortably at night with that. And that is the story.
Wow, Sean, scary into good news all in the course of a couple of sentences there. Thank you. I'm glad that that's the case. May it stay
Yeah,
that
me
way
too.
forever. Though hearing that really serious thing means that I can't talk about how I can't make the comment that once you said the phrase whiskey shower, I heard nothing else, because that would no longer be true.
I actually, that was a fib in the poem. It was a glass cup in the shower, which is not a smart thing to do, but who was watching?
So it was really still just a regular portion of whiskey, in other words.
Of course. Of course.
Okay.
I never abuse alcohol. Never have.
I'm sure, me neither. That having been said, I was curious about the whiskey shower concept and wondering where I could go to experience that. But
Oh my God, Rick, do you have to ask? You have a shower in your home, I assume, right? You look clean most days. Is that just an illusion?
it's a filter. It's a Zoom filter. It's the
Well
one that says
done.
"Make me look like I'm put together and don't smell."
It's very
But
effective.
anyway, I could go on and on about this, but I won't. Sean, thank you so much. I'm glad you're doing well. May it continue to be that way forever.
Of course. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for being here today. Round of applause for Sean Mahoney.
Thank you.
On deck, Ed Potastic. Please welcome Jennifer Elise Wang. Hello, Jennifer.
Hey, it feels like it's been a while, but partly was because I didn't see Zombie Burlesque, but I saw the Outsiders musical, which I highly recommend since it's on tour. So I've got two poems. The first is one of two pieces I have published in Edge City #2, which is out now. There's a visual component to this poem, so I'm gonna share screen. I also thought it was fitting because there's a White Stripes reference and they were just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So this poem is called Family or Fucking, and it's arranged in two categories, which I will just read across from family to fucking. So, two women holding hands in public, two men holding hands in public, a non-binary femme couple in matching outfits, a young man and woman cosplaying from the same anime, a couple bathing together in Asia, a couple bathing together in America, two women fighting evil and being very close to each other in a kids show pre-2014, two men fighting evil and willing to defy God to save one another, Two men fighting evil and willing to defy God to save one another in the eyes of some fans. Scheming upper-class woman and man, except in the French novel. Scheming upper-class woman and man, except in the prep school version. The king and queen of some desert empires, not the god emperor and his wife. The part of a love triangle that kissed before they were related, and she was doing it to make the other guy jealous anyway. The part of a love triangle that ended up together and had kids that others assume are fucking. A young man and woman expressing how much they miss each other over Christmas morning coffee. A young man and woman expressing how much they miss each other over Christmas morning coffee. A white woman and man who kind of look alike and share a last name in a band together, maybe? A white woman and man who kind of look alike and share a last name in a band together, which is it? Two Asians who share the same common last name. A man and every woman on his phone in the eyes of his current lover in a romantic comedy or a yogurt commercial. Anyone willing to go together to the family bathroom when the line for the women's bathroom is absurdly long. All cohabiting romantic couples to everyone who doesn't know or forgets about asexuality. And lastly, everyone in a queer friend group, regardless of marital status, and especially when one of us is in need of love and support. And so, yeah, this poem was also inspired by the fact that my queer married friends were confused as siblings, and it triggered a memory when someone asked if I was my brother's girlfriend when I was younger. So that was the inspiration of this poem, along with pop culture references. And my second piece, so I disappeared for a lot of October, partly because I was doing a fan poem challenge and that consumed my life, where I wrote a poem a day or like a fanfic a day. And so one of the pieces kind of is dedicated to the Northern Lights tonight. And here is the quatrain that I wrote for it. The stream, the gentle breeze, the stars, against the purple night, she sees a world that heals, not hurts. This is the path of light. And that's all I have.
Well, that was more than plenty, Jennifer. Well done. Great couple of pieces there. Two very different pieces, both super and enjoyable in their own ways. Thank you so much for being here and welcome back. Thank you. What was the show that you said we should see?
The Outsiders, the Broadway musical that's on national tour. So
okay.
Yeah, I got lucky seats to opening night, which was like super discounted, good seat tickets, and was like, well, it's a Tuesday, I'm gonna have to go.
That's okay. Next time you're at a show on a Tuesday, when it's your slot, you can just hold up your phone and broadcast whatever they're doing for like 2 minutes as your piece. Just something to consider for next time.
All right.
Round of applause for Jennifer Elise Wang, who took a well-deserved night off last week. Thanks for being here, Jennifer.
All right, thank you.
On deck, Heidi Casa, please welcome now Ed Potastic. Hello, Ed.
Hello, our wonderful host hello, our wonderful host that we love to toast, that never boast, that goes coast to coast. I know you don't, well, you do boast, but we love you the most. Hello, my name is Ed Potastic. Hello, fantastic. Please, time to join my rhyme. Five-fold sublime. I got two pieces, so I won't take too much time. The first piece is called The Pen of the Dead. I honor the memory of the mute, not the starving for attention looking cute. I honor the memory of the dead who made their earth their untimely bed. If you stop and listen in your ear, you can hear them live on and have no fear. Their words echo in your bones, their poems whispered from the tombstones. They write and write faster than a train. They took in strife with agonizing pain. Their blood and tears mixed with ink cause their eyes to expand and shrink. They write to keep their image alive, no matter how to push or fuel the drive. Please breathe and close your eyes. Do you feel their presence quickly rise? Does it feel like a full moon or a sunrise? Go right till your words touch the skies. You have their virtue inside your pen. Don't let their sacrifice reach an end. I know the fissure in your open chest. Put them to rest by making their words your nest. Thank you. And this is called Not Broken. Everyone is broken. Failures won't end. There's the issue. Here's a tissue. Oh, the horrible truth. It has no substitute. What is perfection? Make believe satisfaction. Time isn't perfect. The timeless verdict. Speaking of time, it's not yours or mine. If I ran out, I wouldn't shout. I would reflect or stop to connect. I would give more to charity, help change our society. I would travel till my legs fall off. Then I would write a blog. I would write a book, then hide it in a nook. I would cook every day, then indulge in wordplay. I would send out jokes to write in case you're broke. I would write, be hearty, then don't forget to party. I would think about the dead, then I'll rest my weak head. I would have a big smile, help all to remember my style. My last words would be, life's a crazy ride. This is a poet's pride and where he died. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. As you can see, your reading from last week is still resonating with people as recently reported by Bill Gaines. So hope you're happy with your experience last week, and thanks for coming back this week. Round of applause for Ed Potastic. On deck, Dig Wayne. Please welcome Heidi Casa. Hello, Heidi.
Hi, Rick. Hi, everybody. Sorry, Ed, I intended to come last week too, but then I got food poisoning, so it was beyond my control. I have two tonight. Seasons in 2025. The fall foliage is one tree living in autumn, another's spindly winter fingers beckoning past the vibrant spring green of a sister tree, facing the bleached yellow, summer-dried leaves, sun-fried. While I drive past shriveled masses in yard after yard, from various people transmogrified into naked ghosts, discarding clothes that can only be reanimated with constant streams of hot air from their personal screen of choice. The farewell tour. His long hair and blazer signals chestnut as he sings about horses. A palomino. Something isn't right. Death in their eyes. He turns to the man yelling above stage left, who's demanding a favorite song, insisting on self-satisfaction, one at every show, ignoring the band's practice set list, denying the wonder of songs offered, the smooth match of puzzle pieces, the surprise of an effortless, unexpected, and right fit. Warm and earthy, the singer's partly charcoal with vanilla swirled in. The whole evening a pendulum. Is he chased by the shouting man? Or does the singer chase his own life with his long look, hooked in the past of the band's start, part of him always a seed of his own satisfaction, solid in tonight's air, skin taut and glowing, part of him cast forward in determination to reincarnate. Thank you.
Heidi, thank you. I recently received your book, The Bullet Takes Forever. I've got it on my desk. I'm reading a poem or two, a session, if you will, and I'm really enjoying it. An important book, an extremely well-written book, at least in terms of the way I enjoy work and what I want to read. So I know it's just out. I hope people get it and read it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for buying a copy. I appreciate it.
Sure, and I'm glad you're feeling better as well.
Thanks.
No one's allowed to eat on Monday night anymore, just in case it might affect your ability to appear here on Tuesday night. Keep that in mind. That's a new rule. One drink minimum, no eating the night before. On deck, Dave Kula. Please welcome now Dig Wayne. Hello, Dig.
Hello, Rick. Hello, everybody. I got warrants. Stealing toothpicks in Washington State, trespassing in Tennessee, asking why in Wyoming, spoiling milk in Montana, posting deep fakes in Connecticut, stealing fan mail from flounders in Florida, untucking my shirt in Texas. I got warrants. Dry skin in Alabama, bowling on Sunday in Ohio, indecisive in Indiana, expired license to ill in Illinois, misogyny in Mississippi. I got warrants. Ice fishing without a pole in Wisconsin, making prank calls in California, stealing box kites in Kansas, heading south in North Dakota, heading north in South Carolina, hemming and hawing in Nebraska, expired tags in New Jersey, purloined horse and buggy in Pennsylvania, spitting on the sidewalk in West Virginia. I got warrants. Chewing tobacco in Georgia, microdosing in Maine. I got warrants. Jaywalking in Michigan, stealing a pig in New Hampshire. Insurance fraud in Rhode Island, dick cheese in DC. I got warrants. Wearing a fanny pack in Minnesota, playing dumb in Delaware, mumbling in Massachusetts, sleep apnea in Louisiana, GTA in Oklahoma, running guns in Iowa, misgendered in Missouri, unbridled in Utah, porn origami in Oregon, pimping in Idaho, blowing bubbles in New York, killing a state trooper in Arkansas. I got warrants. Thanks. A teaspoon of angels. Follow no man into a cranny of terror, a ballroom of vile decadence, in place of eastern wings for horns aplenty. It's time we temper the water for drowning, not for bubbles, popping like earwigs on a violent first date. Stop shaking babies and lying in plain sight. Stop allowing the wolf in to gnaw at your throat in common sense. Organizing an intervention for soulless monsters lost in the callous ever after. Softly in the distance, the ticking time bomb grows more lethal with every disregard for decency and grace. Get out of my head, heartless beast. Hopefully you'll lose yours soon. For good or ill, a teaspoon of angels is all it might take. Thank you.
Thank you, Dig. I don't know if you're aware, but this year, dick cheese actually became a delicacy in DC. So you might have been issued a pardon.
Well, that's good to know. When are they going to do that with head cheese?
That even the current administration can't wrap their head around.
Can't wrap their dicks around head cheese?
No, they can't. I really need to ask you about the hat, though, Dig.
Hey,
and that's the entire question.
I got this new hat and I've been wearing it. My wife's out of town. My daughter said, "Your mom." She said, she goes, "Mom's going to hate that hat." I said, "Well, I better wear it until she gets back on Thursday." So I'm wearing it every day. It came in the mail and it was much bigger than I thought it was going to be. But I'm gradually falling in love with it.
It's a little bigger than perhaps it should be.
It's really big.
And you did kind of explain the whole thing with my wife's out of town. The hats we'll all wear in those situations.
That's why I'm in the kitchen. I couldn't be in the bedroom. There wasn't enough room for it.
No. Yeah, I wasn't going to ask about the different room because we just don't have that kind of time.
I had to spread out.
All right. Well, if you need any help, I can be over there in like 20 minutes and help you move it to another location. Let me know.
Okay. Well, thank you for that.
Sure. And thank you so much for being here. Great work, as always. Round of applause for Dig Wayne.
Thank you.
We've got two more people on the open reading list, and then I'm going to close out with a couple of poems at the end of that. She Dragon 713, you are on deck. Please welcome now Dave Kula. Hello, Dave.
Hello. I know I've been out for over a month. My wife was in the hospital and she had sepsis and a real bad leg infection, and then I've been dealing with, just helping her around the house and stuff. So, but she's getting better. So, but during my time, I actually found a few poems that I wrote back in high school some 30 years ago. So I thought it would be just kind of fun to read a couple of them that I know were nice then. One I never gave a title to, but roses red, flowers red, or flower bed. Geez, can't remember already. Birds high, blue sky, daisies white, sun bright, swaying trees, buzzing bees, lazy afternoon and hidden lagoon, white balloons near the moon, weeds tall and long lost ball. Actually did a few poems in that style that were based on some paintings that my adoptive mom had done, and I thought that was fun. Wish I had that with me to show, but. And the other one I actually was the first poem I actually made money on because I sold it to a few people I knew in high school that wanted to have a poem to give to their girlfriend. I called it Sweet Harmony, a wonderful feeling that it will give to those who care and are willing to give all of their heart and soul. Short and sweet.
Indeed. Dave, well done. Great to have you back. How cool. What a great feat to have sold poems to people when you were in high school. I think we were all I wish we all had that idea. We'd be living easy, I think, at this point. But cool story. Glad to hear it, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.
Round of applause. Thank you. A round of applause for Dave Kula. I'm going to close out the open reading. I'm on deck. Please welcome now She Dragon 713. Hello.
Hi, everyone. This is my first time here, although I do recognize some faces. I wasn't going to read tonight, but I was inspired by everyone here, and I just came back from a poetry reading. So the first poem is Apologies to All the People in Lebanon by June Jordan, dedicated to the 600,000 Palestinian men, women, and children who lived in Lebanon from 1948 to 1983. I didn't know, and nobody told me, and what could I do or say anyway? They said you shot the London ambassador, and when that wasn't true, they said, so what? They said you shelled the northern villages, and when UN forces reported that was not true, because your side of the ceasefire was holding since more than a year before. They said, so what? They said they wanted simply to carve a 25-mile buffer zone, and then they ravaged your water supplies, your electricity, your hospitals, your schools, your highways and byways, all the way north to Beirut, because they said this was their quest for peace. They blew up your homes and demolished the grocery stores and blocked the Red Cross and took away doctors to jail, and they cluster bombed girls and boys whose bodies swelled purple and black into twice the original size, and tore the buttocks from a 4-month-old baby, and then they said this was brilliant. Military accomplishment, and this was done, they said, in the name of self-defense, they said. That is the noblest concept of mankind. Isn't that obvious? They said something about never again, and then they made close to 1 million human beings homeless in less than 3 weeks, and they killed or maimed 40,000 of your men and your women and your children. But I didn't know, and nobody told me, and what could I do or say anyway? They said they were victims. They said you were Arabs. They called your apartments and gardens guerrilla strongholds. They called the screaming devastation that they created the rubble. Then they told you to leave, didn't they? Didn't you read the leaflets that they dropped from their hotshot fighter jets? They told you to go. 135,000 Palestinians in Beirut, and why didn't you take the hint? Go. There was the Mediterranean. You could walk into the water and stay there. What was the problem? I didn't know, and nobody told me, and what could I do or say anyway? Yes, I did know it was the money I earned as a poet that paid for the bombs and the planes and the tanks that they used to massacre your family. But I am not an evil person. The people of my country aren't so bad. You can expect but so much from those of us who have to pay taxes and watch American TV. You see my point? I'm sorry. I really am sorry. This was published in 2005. The second poem is Canto for the Chestnut-Eared Laughing Thrush by Hai Dang Fang, who is the poet that I saw read tonight. Okay. and then rushed into the embrace of the mountains of the Kontum Plateau, ferried through Lhasa Pass, blew past Mangdang, dizzied among hairpin turns, floating in the lushness 1,200 meters above sea level, amid a mosaic of prime evergreen, gasping. And up there we saw strata of emerald forms of beech, laurel, magnolia, heather, and myrtle under unbroken canopy in the undergrowth of that species' rich upper montane wet forest. Hidden somewhere in that mystery must be our very own chestnut-eared laughing thrush. Garrulax concha canensis was our day's journey and query, who appeared in our dreams calling. So we began our search, checked known locations, at the first spot, magpies, the next, babblers, but we kept looking, listening, knowing the forest gives up its secrets slowly. And passion, we knew from experience, associates with wild patience. On our lips, the other name, Kukongkakin, for the shy terrestrial bird who has no need for names, but sustenance in song. Then came a rasping buzz, close by us, there in the undergrowth, a voice signed among the trees. A few turns of the kaleidoscope, new shapes and colors rearranged themselves into the winged creature we sought out. Brown and black dappled, spotted and speckled, the chestnut patch brushed behind the knowing eye, blurring well into the daylight world of shadows. As if a slight breeze stirred, gentle movements among the leaves and branches told us our bird retreated out of sight. We all breathed again. The laughing thrush exists. The mountain forest exists. This was only prelude, for we struck deeper into the interior, seeking greater clarity, closer listening. And so we stood like trees staring back into the trees, ears peering through the green abundance, touching the colorful cacophony of sounds. Reader, desire follows you into the field, where what you want colors what you see. On the road back to Pleiku, looking out across the highlands that held us, we all smiled. There was no need for words. Each replayed in their mind's eye the day's loveliness. Then came news of extinction. The Javan rhino, dead, the last of his kind found slaughtered at Gakding, horn sawed off. Joy fell from the sky. Let us not tell our children a story that begins, once in the forests there was the laughing thrush. We had met with chestnut-eared laughing thrush again and again, there in the heart of the forest, there where our fellow humans had not cleared, hunted, trapped, and defoliated life out of existence. There sweet thrush-like notes may stream, yet as water over rows of stone. Others there sang the songs of their species too, and our bodies also lighter with laughter. Thank you.
She Dragon 713, thank you for finding our space. I hope you come back and read for us again. Welcome to Cobalt Poets. Would love to hear some more work from you. Well, everyone give a round of applause to She Dragon 713. Thank you. All right, I'm going to close out the open reading with a couple of poems I've been reading to you, as you may know, from my book, High Moose Alert, which came out earlier this year. Poems written up in Alaska and Vancouver while visiting that place a summer and a half ago. We am at the point in the book where we're finishing being on a ship, and this was written while on the ship. The ship was called Koenigsdam. 1. The carpet in the elevator tells us it is Monday, and we believe, as we have no other way to get this information. 2. We take a photo with a talking bear. The miracles at sea never cease to amaze. 3. We pass by a world of shipping containers somewhere outside of Juneau. I wish bears were climbing all over them, but I think this is what they use to ship moose to California. 4. I wonder if bears are curious and come to see the things the second people have built, their noses sniffing the poles that hold electric cables, wondering in their bare way, what could these possibly be for? Their interest wanes quickly when they see no honey is involved. All right, a few observations before we got into the port of Juneau to see what that place was about. This last poem was written for this week's Torah portion. This week's Torah portion is called in Hebrew Chaye Sarah, which means the life of Sarah. The poem is called First Mother. When the main character dies in the second sentence, you hope at least for a feature-length flashback showing how we got here. This is not what we get. Instead, life goes on. A cave is purchased for her rest. The children marry. There is much begetting. I'd give you the details, but the homework is your obligation. At the risk of a major spoiler, I'll tell you this. Her husband doesn't make it. But we still say their names. Sarah, Abraham, thousands of years after their final rest. Every week or every day, depending on how you were raised or what tradition you found. Our lives are the things we do, but our legacy is what happens after we're gone. We are the promise made to her. We are the stars in the sky. We carry her name in every breath. We are the life of Sarah. Alrighty, people, that's it. That's the open reading. That's the featured reading. That's the whole darn evening. There's the stuff in the chat one more time to help support and say thank you to our featured reader, Diosa. Diosa, you were fantastic tonight. I really loved your work. Really great to hear it, and so glad we caught you on a night that you could be here. You can tip Diosa for her reading via the Venmo ID that's there. You can download the broadside for her poem again at the Cobalt Poets website. The next link I just pasted there when you're at the website. In particular, for you new folks, you can click on calendar and see who's coming up in the coming weeks here in this space. As I mentioned earlier, next week our featured reader will be Alex S. Johnson. So that's going to be a cool night, I think. Also on that website, if you'd like reminders of this reading and the flyers that get emailed out, click on email list, put your email there, click on submit, and you'll get added to the list and start getting those reminders with a convenient Zoom link. Back to what I pasted in the chat, there are book links you can pick up. You can pre-order Diosa's upcoming book, Mi Chicana Poemas y Más Poemas, there at thebookshop.org link. And then there's two links to her most recent book of poems, West of the Santa Ana and Other Sacred Places, there at Amazon and also at bookshop.org. And finally, you can visit Diosa on the web at diosax.net. Thank you very much, Diosa. Thanks, everyone, for making this a stellar open reading and great community of people to be amongst. I'm going to click on the Ask All to Unmute button, so feel free to commingle.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Right.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, everybody.
Beautiful. Diosa, thank you. I love
Thank
you.
you.
You're magnificent as usual.
To be all.
Thank you.
Good night, Chris. Thank you. It was